Hi everyone, Linda here from Create Your Future. I'm answering another subscriber's question. But before we begin, if you'd like one-on-one coaching with me, the information is down below. And also don't forget to check out our free course on how to uncover your blocks and manifest fast. So this question was regarding how to revise money. I had done a short on revision, different types of revision, revising on the spot and all of that. And this viewer asked how to revise money. So we revise everything the same way, just like we manifest everything the same way. You have to have a good mental diet, change the story, favorable story, and all of that. So when it comes to revision, what you're going to do is you're not going to accept what has happened as final. You're going to change the story some way, somehow. You can do it on the spot, or you can change it over time to have it reflect. So for example, if you apply for a job and you don't get the job, instead of saying, man, I didn't get the job, you know what, forget it. I'm done. I'll just stay at the job I'm at. Honestly, I'm never going to get hired. Forget it. You have just accepted the 3D as fact. So therefore, you're not going to get the job. Revision would look like, you know what? I didn't get the job yet. Maybe there was a mistake. Something's going to happen. I know that job is mine. I'm going to go to the end. I'm going to work on my self-concept of I'm worthy of this job. I'm perfect and good enough just the way I am for this job. I'm qualified enough for this job. I love working at this place. Whatever it is that you want to say to yourself, I intend I'm getting this job some way, somehow. I don't know when. I don't know how. I'm going to get the job. And then when you're doing stuff like that, anything can happen. One of my clients found the email, the congratulatory email, successful candidate email. It was in her junk mail. So she found it late. She found it in her junk mail. She got the job. Another situation that I've been in is that they hired somebody else. So this person didn't get the job. And about a month later, they contacted them and offered them the job. They said, are you still interested in the job? Are you still available? Because the person they hired, it didn't work out. I'm not sure if they turned it down. I'm not sure if they quit, got fired. I don't know. But eventually the job came back. So when you revise it, you're changing things. Some people also say, can I revise the past to pretend like it never happened? So you're not revising the past to pretend like it never happened. You're going to revise the meaning you're giving to it so that it ends up being like not a big deal. Everyone's kind of forgot about it. Nobody talks about that incident anymore. Something like that, right? So for example, you got in a really big fight with SP and you said all kinds of like inappropriate things. You told them off and you said, never call me back again and all this, and you hung up and blocked them and it was horrible. And you contact me and you say, please, how do I get rid of the story? How do I revise the story? I wish I never did that. I shouldn't have done that. You can revise it by saying, it was no big deal. I said it because I was angry. SP knows the way I am. SP forgives me. SP's already forgotten about it. It's no big deal. He's going to contact me any minute. He knew I just needed time to calm down. He's forgotten about it already. He knows that like I get upset sometimes and he's cool. He's going to call me back, today once he's realized that I'm calm. Honestly, it's been forgotten, whatever. The next time you talk to SP, you know what happens sometimes? Oh, I didn't even think of that. Oh, I forgot that happened. When? Really? Oh, I didn't even notice. Do you ever get people that reply back to you like that where you're like, what are you talking about? Like they almost don't remember that it happened, or they're like, oh my God, that was so long ago. Oh my God, I forgot about that already. And you're like, wow, that's interesting. That's kind of how revision happens. It didn't disappear. It didn't not happen in the past. You didn't get rid of it. You're just changing the perception of it and the thought and the meaning. So if you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have done that, you're giving it power to show up that way. But if you're saying it's no big deal, honestly, he knows the way I am. He's going to call me any minute. I was just upset. Understandable. He's forgotten about it already. You're revising your perception of it. You're revising your story of it. You're revising your assumptions, your fears about it. So when it comes to money, again, in a session, we would go back and forth and talk about your blocks, your past things that happened. So it's easier for us to get down to the root of the story of like how to revise this. But in general, it's the same thing. So let's say, for example, okay, this just happened to me. True story. So I live in Canada and it's tax season. And when you're working multiple jobs, you end up being in a different tax bracket. So last year, I was in a different tax bracket and I had to pay back like more money than I wanted to because I was in a different bracket where I had to, give back rather than receive. So I ended up quitting that second job, didn't need it. I have a beautiful, full-time, perfect, amazing job that pays very well. So I didn't need that second job. I never needed the second job. I kind of wanted it. I didn't want to let go of that job when I got the new job and I just held on to it. So I resigned from that other job and I have my beautiful full-time job now. I thought that I quit on time where it wouldn't affect me for this tax season. Needless to say, I get another T4 slip in the mail, and there's a lot of money from my previous job that I have to claim on my taxes this year as well. So I'm not scot-free. I'm going to have to pay back those taxes. It's a lot more money. I don't have the second job to pay back the money. So, that's not the best situation. But what I said was, some way, somehow, there's a glitch. Some way, somehow, I'm not going to have to pay, double-digit figures like last year. Some way, somehow, there's a glitch. There's a glitch in the matrix. I don't know when, I don't know how, but I'm not going to have to owe back that much money. Everything's fine, like money and thing. And if I do have to pay it back, I'll just pay it back. It's okay. Because remember, if I come from a lack place, if I start to say, oh my gosh, how am I going to pay for it? I don't have the money. I'm broke. It's never going to work out. How am I supposed to do that? Then I'm going to create a version of myself that's in lack and having money problems. Then I am going to get this really crazy money to return back and all that. So I was just like, you know what? No big deal. Some way, somehow, I'm going to pay off this money. Some way, somehow, I'm not going to have to owe anything back, honestly. And I kept it cool, kind of like, if I have to pay it back, I will. I didn't give it that feeling, that vibe of fear, lack, or anything like that. I swear to you, I'm not even kidding you. My tax lady messages me today, and she says, we need to talk. So I'm already sweating. I'm like, oh my God, I really don't want to have to pay all this back. The amount of money that she said I owe is like bare minimum. Is like the amount of money a regular person would have to owe. Like, honestly, an eighth of the amount that I thought it was going to be. So she goes, you're okay with that? I said, yeah, I thought it was going to be, last year was a lot. I don't want to mention money, but it was about 14, 15 grand to pay back, right? So I was worried this time. This time she got it down to $500. Listen, I know I still have to owe. That's fine. But in comparison to that, I manifested it going down. And I said to her, I said, but how? I'm still working 2 jobs. I still had extra money. It still put me in a different bracket. Like, what made me not pay this much this year than I did last year? And she said that the second company had taken off more taxes per paycheck than usual. So that ended up saving me into another tax bracket where I only had to pay $500 instead of like last year, $14,000. If that's not a money revision to you, I don't know what is. So in saying that, when you have a money problem, concern, the minute we accept it as factual and we say, oh my gosh, I'm so broke, this always I don't even like saying it for an example because I feel like I'm still putting it out into the universe. If somebody were to say that they are broke, that they have no money, when a bill comes, they're like, oh my gosh, like honestly, I just paid this, what the heck? Or, every time they get paid, 5 bills are coming out and they have a story that like money is hard to hold on to. Like every time I get money, like it slips out of my hands so easily. Like I'm paying for more than what I'm making. When you start saying things like that and focusing on things like that, you're going to create more of that. You're showing that you're in lack. You're showing that you're afraid of losing money. You're showing that money doesn't come to you easily. You're telling a story that money slips out of your hands quickly. Well, what's going to happen? Exactly that. Everyone and everything is you pushed out. So if you're holding on to this dominant story about money, things are going to happen in your 3D to reflect that back to you. So to revise, you're going to change that story. So let's just say in my case with the taxes, I was like, nope, some way, somehow, I'm not paying back that money. It's not going to be a lot of money. I don't have to pay anything because I'm the operant power and I believe in the law and I trust in the law. And I don't know how, some way, somehow, it ain't happening. I'm going to pay, it's going to work out for me. Boom, it happened. So the same thing, for example, I'm trying to think of some common scenarios that I get because again, like I said, if I'm not coaching with you, I don't really know your concern directly. But another one that I get is rent. And I think if you go back to one of my first few YouTube videos, I did mention something about this story. So there was a client, well, a friend of mine that was a client prior to this, that she needed money for her rent. And, that's a little bit different because you have a deadline. You have to pay the rent by a certain time. If not, like, there's consequences. You might get a fee. You might have to pay interest. You might get kicked out. You might get evicted. Like whatever your landlord's rules are. So this person was worried about her rent. It was still early enough in the month, and she was saying, I don't have the rent. Like, what am I going to do? I'm going to lose this place. Oh my gosh. So I said to her, let's revise. So instead of sticking to a story that you don't have the money and you can't pay the rent and you're going to get kicked out of your apartment, we're going to revise it. Some way, somehow, I'm going to have more than enough money to pay my rent. Some way, somehow, everything's going to work out for me. I am abundant. Every dollar I pay, comes back tenfold. I intend that I'm a money magnet. I intend that money comes to me easily and effortlessly, harm to none. I intend that some way, somehow, this is going to work out for me and all that. So let me tell you what happened. The landlord had to go on vacation and also had to do some renovations. So because the landlord wasn't going to be here, and because of the inconvenience of some of the renovations, the landlord gave everybody that month off, like off or an extension. I don't remember exactly how it turned out. So she had extra time for her paycheck to come in and for her to pay the rent. So because she didn't have to pay that month, she was able to accumulate money and paycheck. So by the time the next month rent came, she had the money. So it wasn't that she got more money, but she didn't have to pay the rent. So in essence, she had more money. Like, who would have thought that because the landlord was going to be away and not be able to collect, and because there was going to be some renovations happening that were going to interfere with some of the amenities of the condo, that he said to everyone that that month's rent was going to kind of be like, null and void, like not necessary to pay. So you see how you revise it. But if she would have stuck and said, forget it, I can't pay this. Oh my gosh, I have no friends to lend me money. I have no money coming in. Like, it's never going to. If you already go into it with that story, that's what you're going to create. And it could have even been a story that she could have just said something as simple as, my landlord will understand. My landlord will give me an extension. My landlord knows that I pay on time. Everything's going to be cool. And it could have been something where the landlord would have allowed her to have an extension. And when she had the money, she'd be able to pay it. Or it could have been something like, you know how you pay first and last month, or you pay like a security type of thing? It could have been that they use that money up front instead of at the end. And, when you decide to move at the end, you have to pay that last month's rent. You don't know how it's going to happen. So that's just a rent situation. So a client success that I had from here that I shared on one of the shorts, the client came to me and basically she was lent money and spent the money, and the person wanted the money back. So this is like, where do you get the money from? Where do you get it back? How do you get it back? You used it. No savings, no extra income. So we revised the story. We discussed what happened and all that. And basically, she had said to me, well, this person that gave me the money, like, changes their mind all the time. They're kind of flaky. They're kind of forgetful. So, I don't know. Like, why would he ask for it back after giving it to me? And I said, you know what? Let's use that. If this person is prone to changing their mind and kind of flaky, we're going to use that. They offered you the money. They asked for it back, but they've changed their mind. They changed their mind. They're flaky. It was just a thought, whatever. I kid you not. I've posted the success story. I've posted a screenshot of her email. It's in the shorts on our page. And she said, oh my gosh, thank you to Linda, this, that, and the third. This person has changed their mind and said, you know what, I wanted the money back to do this renovation, but I changed my mind. I don't think I want to do anymore, so don't worry about it. So she never had to mention that she spent the money. She never had to come up with the money to pay it back. And the person dropped the story, all because we revised that money situation. I could go on with so many different examples, but again, until I know your direct story, it's a little bit harder. Let's just say you want to get a raise. Let's just say you want to get a raise and you're trying to revise that. I need a raise. My paychecks are not the greatest. I hope I get a raise. I hope I get a raise. I hope I get a raise. By you saying that and sticking to it, even if you don't get a raise next month, even if your boss doesn't mention a raise in 2 months, if you stick to that story, eventually what's going to happen is it's going to be reflected back to you. You might get a raise. You might get a bonus. You might get a promotion. We don't control the when and the how. All we know is that we're going to stick to the end state, the intention of money being abundant, money coming to us easily and effortlessly. When money comes, it sticks. When money comes, it stays. I make money easily and effortlessly. I have more than enough money to pay for my bills and help others. Whatever story you want to say, you're going to revise your old story. So whatever that old negative thought was, whatever that old negative complaining is, this always happens. I never have enough. Oh my gosh, everything's so expensive. Stop saying that. Stop saying that and change the story that I'm going to get it. I have the money. It's going to happen. And eventually it has to show up back to you. So yeah. So basically, you want to keep your intentions positive. You want to stick to your guns until the story changes. And you just want to, give the 3D a good meaning. We don't want to take the 3D as factual and final. Everything is malleable. Things change all the time. And you don't know when and how it'll change. You don't know what can happen. I remember with this job that I have now, when I got to the job, first of all, this job pays a lot more than my previous job. And then we got a raise, and 2 months later we got a raise. We got 4 raises back to back because apparently our union was ratifying for raises and promotions to get us up to par to where people in our field should be getting, and they were giving us all this back pay. This all happened before I started working there. But when I started working there, everybody had to get that reimbursement back. Boom, 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 boom. Well, I didn't know how the money was going to come in. I just, revised my money story. I stopped saying things like, I can't afford this. I stopped saying things like, money is so hard to come by. Everything's so expensive. I never have enough money. Oh my gosh, I don't have enough money to pay my bills, my rent. I stopped saying all those things. So I revised my story in general. And also, you can use the same technique on the spot, whether it's money or any other desire you're looking for. You're just going to kind of stop, not accept that 3D story as final, and you're going to tell the new story of how you wish it worked out. You're going to tell the story of how you wanted it to work out. You're going to tell the story as if it worked out in that favorable way. Something that Neville Goddard does or spoke about was before bed, when you go to bed, revise your whole day as if it happened the way you want it to happen. Oh, so I woke up this morning, SP called me. He came over for lunch, went for lunch. It was great. I went to work for the afternoon, and my boss ended up pulling me aside and gave me a bonus for my job well done. I also got a promotion, which is going to bring me up, extra money, and it was so amazing. And then after work, me and SP met up, and we had dinner, and, he slept over, she slept over, and we spent the whole night together. Oh, I'm so grateful. What an amazing day I had today. Even if that's not what happened, you're going to revise your day at the end of the night as if it turned out the way you wanted it to turn out. And again, whatever we're telling our subconscious mind, it's going to show you proof in 3D. It's going to reflect back to you some way, somehow. So remember, don't worry about the when, don't worry about the how, ignore the 3D, give it good meaning, don't accept that as factual, and change the story on the spot. Change the story on the spot. You want to change that story before it turns into a spiral in the unfavorable way, before it spirals into a whole bunch of negative stories and the negative old thoughts. We want to catch it, interrupt it, and revise it on the spot. So yeah, whether it's money, SP, an argument, a job you didn't get, something didn't work out your way, that's how revision happens. So I intend this was very helpful to our viewer, and I intend that this kind of clarified how to revise in general, mostly money in this video. But if you need more help, one-on-one coaching where I can pinpoint, we can work together to actually make it pertain to your concerns and blocks, then get the link down below, and I would love to help you. So until next time, bye.